What if our world map was redrawn by Eastern mariners, changing the geopolitical landscape? Would the great Western empires still reign supreme? Join history's forked path to explore this fateful turning point. Imagine a world where Eastern ships shape the destiny of new continents, altering global geopolitics. History shows that European explorers discovered the Americas, ushering in an era of conquest, shaping the modern world. But what if Ming Dynasty dragon ships landed on this continent centuries earlier, not just visiting and leaving? In the early 15th century, the Ming fleet, commanded by a talented admiral, undertook great voyages. These journeys reached as far as the East African coast, exploring distant, unseen lands. With the world's largest ships, advanced maritime technology took them everywhere. The voyages aimed at diplomacy, collecting tribute, and establishing important trade relationships. The court's display of power was evident in the scale and grandeur of this fleet. However, subsequently, the policy of isolation led to the cessation of these voyages. The court turned its back on the sea, missing out on tremendous development opportunities for the country. Instead of diplomacy, a visionary leader decided to expand the exploration goals. They recognized the enormous potential in distant lands across the Pacific instead of just the Indian Ocean. The court did not isolate itself. Instead, it supported and continued to invest in maritime expeditions. Discovering abundant resources and new crops spurred them to make the fleet a national priority. Ming ships reached the west coast of the Americas, where sailors witnessed pristine worlds and indigenous civilizations. Their initial goals were trade and showcasing the dynasty's greatness. They exchanged silk, exquisite ceramics, and metal tools for gold, silver, and exotic crops. Initially, this relationship was cooperative, with mutual respect between the two cultures. The arrival of merchants and small settlements brought diseases from Asia. Diseases from Asia caused significant losses to indigenous communities, who had no immunity. Eastern culture began to subtly spread: farming techniques, irrigation management. Ceramic art and architectural elements were also introduced and adopted. Large trading centers gradually formed along the coast and deep into the continent. Eastern languages and customs blended with indigenous cultures, creating a new identity. The Ming Dynasty received a huge influx of wealth from American silver and gold. Along with high-yield foodstuffs, the Ming was more powerful and stable than ever, consolidating its undisputed position as the celestial empire in the world. The exchange of goods also included spices and tea from Asia to the new continent. Conversely, potatoes, corn, and tomatoes from the Americas enriched Eastern cuisine. Silk weaving techniques and vibrant dyeing were introduced to indigenous tribes. The architecture of indigenous temples and palaces began to show Eastern influences. Roads and bridges were built, connecting vast territories. Eastern scholars brought knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. Eastern writing systems and administrative structures gradually influenced local areas. Economic prosperity spurred the development of new port cities. Inland trade routes expanded, connecting regions deep within the continent. Precious metals from the Americas became a plentiful source of capital for the court. New food sources helped increase the population and stabilize society in the East. Cultural exchange created unique and colorful festivals and customs. Eastern influence spread, establishing an undisputed celestial empire in the world. Within 100 to 200 years, the world witnessed a completely different geopolitical division. Indigenous American civilizations transformed deeply under Eastern influence, not obliterated. They learned shipbuilding techniques, improved writing systems, and adopted social principles. More powerful indigenous empires formed, capable of resistance and strong negotiation. Large cities with mixed indigenous and Eastern architecture emerged. The Eastern economy became the center of a global trade network from Africa to the Americas. Wealth from the New World fueled a prolonged golden age for the East. Remarkable advances in science, art, and philosophy solidified its dominant position. Europe was left behind in the race for discovery, lacking resources. Without silver and gold from the Americas, European powers lacked funds for wars. The scientific and industrial revolutions developed more slowly, focusing on the continent. Competition among European nations became fiercer, or they had to seek other directions. Europe expanded into Africa and Asia, but encountered a powerful East. The Pacific became the center of the world instead of the Atlantic. A unique and vibrant Asian American cultural identity flourished. Stories of civilizational exchange unfolded in entirely different ways. Independent nations in the Americas formed earlier, with different identities. Trade routes constantly expanded, bringing prosperity. Education flourished, with new schools appearing everywhere. Advanced medical development helped control diseases and increase life expectancy. Bustling port cities became centers of international cultural exchange. Rich art, music, and literature reflected the unique blend. New philosophies and ideas bloomed, influencing global thought. Breakthrough scientific inventions and new technologies transformed life. A vast market economy and a robust global trade network. Europe was forced to focus on internal development and seek new markets. A small historical turning point can lead to a different world, overturning concepts of power and culture. Is this a better world, or just another version of the struggles? Thank you for exploring this hypothesis. Let us know your thoughts.